Hello, everyone. My name is Monica Gleiberman, and you're listening to Silence on Set podcast. On today's podcast, we have Sam Heughan, who plays Jamie Fraser on Starz' hit Outlander, talking about the upcoming sixth season, which is premiering next week. This season sees a continuation of Claire and Jamie's fight to protect those they love as they navigate the trials and tribulations of life in colonial America. So here is Sam Heughan talking about what fans can expect for this upcoming season. Hi, Sam.
Hi,
I'm so
Monica.
excited to talk to you.
Great. Good to see you.
Okay, so first I want to start off with, all the fans, we kind of use the term Droughtlander, right? Because we go long periods of time without seeing the show. As an actor, I know like on movie sets, you'll have time periods where, you might not be as active or you might not be needed for the week or whatnot, but you're still kind of in the role. For you, I know you're like living and breathing it when you're filming. But what is it like for you? Because you kind of have a little Droughtlander before you have to start like promoting it and talking about it and kind of remembering what you did. So as an actor, is that like difficult to kind of answer people's questions and talk
Yeah.
about it?
I think on other jobs you get time off or you're not in all the time. Ours is just, it's everything. It's all day, every day, all the hours of the day. And then you're out in the world and you're not doing it. And even though I know it's been a number of months, but somehow it never feels like you're switched off from it. Maybe it's just because we're with it all the time, and we've been with these characters for quite a while. Though, having said that, suddenly we're here and we're the week before the premiere, and we're talking about the show again, and you have to jog your memory because you're thinking back to last year, and so maybe some of the minor details you forget, but it does come back to you, and actually it's been so rewarding, even just watching the episodes again and just remembering moments and all of that hard work, and it just pays off, the attention to detail. But yeah, sometimes it is hard to jump from life in the real world to back into Outlander world.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I always wondered that because I'm like, but then I thought maybe it's a nice tool as an actor, right? Because you've had some space from it. So when you are kind of reunited with some things, you might view it differently versus like living in it. So it's just an interesting, like weird.
I think it's not healthy to live with it the whole time. It's so intense, the show, the filming of it, but also the characters, right? And to be living in that world all the time, yeah, I don't think it's healthy. And I think it's great that we get to go off and do other things, and I think it all feeds back, myself, Katrina, all of us, we're all going and doing other projects. But then that coming back to the familiar world and the family and everything, I think you're giving you energy because you've gone and done something else, and you have just, your creativity is flowing. So I think it's important to have time out, definitely.
Okay, so let's talk about the first episode.
Okay.
So obviously there was such a long period of time that they actually gave us for screeners. We normally don't see like previously on Outlander. They just show it to us. So when I clicked it, I was expecting like, the song to come on, like it starts, and they did a previously for us. So I was like, oh no, like we really need to remember things. So they went into it. And of course I have to ask you right off the bat, I was so invested. And for a second, it took me a minute when it started to go, was this before Claire, when we see you at the prison? I'm like, is this after Claire left? Because he seems very upset and he has shorter hair and he looks younger. And then I'm like, yes, it was. It was right after. And like I put it together because we had seen what Claire went through, right? And pieces of what happened to her. But we heard about what happened and how and things that you like your character Jamie went through. So now we see him at the prison and like you look much younger. They gave you like, the shorter hair and how you kind of become a leader at the prison. So was it hard for you to like go back and forth because we start off there and then you're older?
We have seen it this season 3 in Odds
Like a little
Prison.
Mhm.
So we have played that, and it is basically after Culloden and after Jamie gets sent to prison, and actually when we first meet Lord John Grey, who becomes the new prison warden. We've played all that in season 3, but to revisit it is so interesting for an actor because, well, yeah, I mean, I did that 3 years ago or something, and he's in a completely different state of mind, Jamie. And also, I didn't have that information then when we were playing it then. So it's kind of cool for me as an actor
Oh,
as well to go back and go, oh, okay, this was going on at the time. And yeah, to see Jamie, at that point, he thinks he's lost. I'm talking about Ardsmuir. He thinks he's lost Claire. He thinks he's lost a lot of his fellow clansmen. He didn't want to live. He wanted to die. And so he's living in the memory of her. He wants to live in the shadows. He just wants to be on his own. But now we find out that the men around him need him, or they need something. They need peace. They need comfort. And Jamie can't help himself, and he has to act, and he has to look after them, even if it's just to make their lives a little bit better. So he's forced again to be a leader of men, and he doesn't want to be, but he has to. And I guess that's his predicament, right? That he wants, or
yeah.
he just wants a quiet life. But also, not only that, but it also obviously is introducing Tom Christie and why their relationship is the way it is.
Right. No, and that's right. Like when we kind of see him at the prison, I feel like it was a little more established, and and then you had like a new person coming in, which was John, and then Jamie trying to make a relationship with him, right? And
Yeah,
continue those dinners and things like
yeah.
that. But we didn't see like how'd you
No,
get up to that part?
exactly.
So
And the first warden, and yeah, it's just amazing, and that's what I love about the show is that we get to sort of expand upon worlds, and we can jump back, and we can jump forward, and we can go to other time zones, and it's so cool. And I just love that backstory between him and Tom. I mean, you could watch the show without that flashback and still still kind of understand it, because as Jamie explains it later on to Claire, there's sort of history, but it's so fun as an actor to be able to be given that. And I think it's going to be hopefully a pleasant little surprise for the audience, because they're expecting to be back on the ridge,
mhm.
back with Jamie and Claire, but they're not. They're at Ardsmuir, and with some other characters that they've seen before as well.
When we kind of see the ridge, right? This is like the first time we've seen it in a while as
Yeah.
like as viewers. I felt like, and I don't know if you felt this way, but when I saw it, I was like, oh, I can see how we eventually assembled into little houses and
Yep.
streets, and
Yep.
how kind of development started.
Mm.
And when in the whole like montage of the intro, they're showing all these different kind of like how successful things are going, and things are kind of moving along, and more people
Flourishing.
are coming.
Yeah.
So was that something that you like looked at and were like, wow, like because when I saw it, I was like, whoa, like when they showed it and they did like
Yeah.
this beautiful
It's
shots.
amazing. So over the past 3 years, I mean, the same location. I remember we turned up to shoot, season 4, and there's nothing there, and there's planks of wood, and we're building the house. And then last season, oh, the house is looking good, and there's Murtagh's memorial, and there's land here, and we're developing it. And then this season, it's developing, and there's more people around, and it's flourishing. And exactly, you see, like it really is becoming more successful and more of a settlement, right? And I think unfortunately, things are going well, so not for much longer, right?
There's a scene where Claire's inventing like ether,
Yeah.
and you kind of like your character smells it, and I was wondering if you felt that Jamie was getting an inkling that she might be using it more than maybe she should, or if that was just you smelling it as something that you've never smelled before because you've never heard of it.
I mean, it's a bit of acting, I suppose, because there's no smell. But I was, I mean, at the time, I think he's wary of it, and he doesn't know what it is. And I mean, she's just seen her passed out, and is already worried about her from what's happened. So he's aware that there's something, but he thinks that she'll tell him. So I don't think at that point he's like, oh, putting two and two together. But there's definitely, he's an intelligent guy, and he's certainly observing and learning. But also, she's always bringing new stuff to him, and he's always having to like kind of get up to speed quite quickly. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some when he first smells it and looks at the situation she's just been. He's like, "Is it safe?" He asks her, and like,
Right.
"I'm not sure about this." So, um, yeah,
And
foreshadowing.
then just really quickly, because I have a minute left, but I want to ask a fan question. But I just want to bring up kind of for both episodes where we're heading. Do you find it kind of ironic that we're discussing like wars and disagreements, and like they don't want you to give the indigenous people guns and things like that. And then you kind of change your mind. And we find out all these little tidbits in the first and second episode. But it's very kind of relevant to today, which is kind of sad because it's such a long time ago.
I mean, yeah, I mean, history is the best teacher, Ryan. And like we repeat the same mistakes or the same things happen. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. We think it's that long ago and it's history, but it's not. It's what, 3 generations or however many, but it's not really not long ago. And we made mistakes and we had these great ideals and things we wanted to do. And I know I think it's super interesting. But I loved working with the First Nation. They brought a lot of their history and heritage with them, and they taught us a lot. And yeah, I hope we learn from our mistakes.
Okay, well, there's time we have to end, but I wanted to ask you if there's anything you want to say to the fans, just really quickly.
Enjoy season 6. You've probably seen the first episode now, or the first 2. I don't know how many you've seen, but keep watching because it gets so much better and worse.
Hope you guys enjoyed listening to Sam Heughan talk about what we can all expect to see Claire and Jamie go through this upcoming season. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're updated on all of our latest podcasts, and head over to our YouTube channel and click subscribe so you're updated on all of our video content.